Hey, I'm Dr. Ken Berry, family physician with almost 20 years of clinical experience. And today I'd love to discuss with you fatty liver disease and 5 things you absolutely must avoid if you want to reverse it. Millions of people around the world are being diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. These are different kinds of fatty liver disease. NASH is an inflammatory condition, whereas NAFLD is more of just a fat accumulation without progressing to the inflammation yet. Now, millions of people are suffering, but there's a way out. There's a way to reverse this that's very natural, very easy, and very inexpensive. And I want to go over the 5 things you should avoid, and I think they're all. Now, let me talk about the 5 specific things that you can implement as soon as this video is over and start to immediately reverse your fatty liver disease. Number one is you need to avoid sugar in all of its forms. Obviously, the 5 pound bag of sugar you buy at the store, obviously any kind of pre-sweetened sugar added anything you need to avoid. Sucrose, which is sugar, is made up of glucose and fructose. When you eat sucrose or sugar, and this is also applies to the natural sugar sources like honey and agave nectar. When you eat those, the glucose in that causes an insulin spike. And the fructose in that is not metabolized the way normal sugar is. Fructose is absorbed through the portal vein straight into your liver. And when you've eaten the glucose along with it, which is how you get fructose, you can't just get it by itself. Even in high fructose corn syrup, you're still getting glucose. So with your insulin already spiked because of the glucose load, then the fructose is immediately converted into a triglyceride, which is stored in your liver. So you got to stop the sugar in all forms. And you may say, well, God, that sounds like a lot of trouble. That sounds like I love sugar. Yeah, you've been diagnosed with fatty liver disease, which will progress to steatohepatitis and will progress to cirrhosis and ultimately to liver failure. This is not a joke. This is a very serious diagnosis you've got. That's the bad news. The good news is if you avoid these 5 things and do the other things I tell you about on my other YouTube videos, you'll get rid of the fatty liver and you'll keep it gone forever. You got to get rid of the sugar. Number 2 is soft drinks, whether they're sweetened with just sucrose, table sugar, or whether they're sweetened with high fructose corn sugar, sweetener sugar. Either one of those is terrible for your liver. The high fructose version is probably worse, but there's not a lot of research about this, and there's also billions of big food dollars out there trying to keep that quiet. So, but you need to avoid all sweetened soft drinks whatsoever. I would also minimize sugar-free or artificially sweetened soft drinks as well. We're grown-ups here. You don't need to drink your soft drink, your soda every day anymore. You've been diagnosed with a liver medical condition. So you got to stop the soft drinks. Number 3, fruit juices. Now, wait a minute. I thought I should eat lots of fruits and vegetables. Why do they always say it that way with fruit in the front? I'm not sure. No, you don't need to eat lots of fruits. Definitely not. Eating an occasional piece of raw fruit is not a big deal. There's a lot of fiber in there that slows down the absorption of the glucose and fructose, so it's probably not a big thing. I would not make fruit a big part of your diet. That might be your dessert since you're avoiding all sugars, as you might have a little cup of berries or an apple or something as dessert. But that needs to be the extent of the fruit that you eat. But fruit juices are just concentrated forms of the liquid sugar that's in fruit. If you drink a glass of orange juice, you're getting the fructose from 4 or 5 oranges. That's way too much fructose. You have to stop the fruit juices, and that includes the fruit juice smoothies and maybe the liver cleanses out there. You need to understand there's no research that shows that any kind of liver cleanse that you buy on the internet is going to help your liver at all. What you've got to do is stop doing these 5 things and then do the other things I talk about. That's what's going to reverse your fatty liver. Number 4 is you have to avoid grains. This includes wheat, corn, oats, rice, amaranth, millet, quinoa, all of them. You got to avoid all these because they are full of carbohydrates. And you can do a quick search on the internet and say, what are carbohydrates made of? Carbohydrates are long chains of sugar. That's what they are. There's no argument about that. Grains do not have anything in them that will help your liver at all. There's no meaningful nutrition in grains that you can't get more of from better sources. Okay. Number four, grains have got to go. And so when I say that, I'm talking about from the cheapest white bread that you can buy at the discount store to the most expensive stone ground, non GMO, ancient wheat bread that costs $42 a loaf. They're equally as bad for your fatty liver. They have to go. Number five is industrial seed oils. Remember, I said before, they said stop eating fried foods. If you're frying that food in these oils, then you need to stop that immediately and start frying your good quality whole food in real fat, which we'll talk about. But what are the industrial seed oils? They are canola, soybean oil, peanut oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil. Those are the major ones. Stop cooking in those. Stop adding those to your food. If you want to use a plant-based oil, then coconut oil is great. Olive oil is great. I prefer the animal oils like lard, bacon grease, tallow, butter. Those are the fats that I use in my diet. None of those good fats will increase your risk of fatty liver or make it worse. But the industrial seed oils have a very high omega 6 to omega 3 ratio, which is very, very inflammatory for your liver and your other body parts. It's not that all omega 6s are bad. That's not the case. It's if you're getting too much omega 6 versus omega 3s. That's where the problem arises.